Hello, my name is Fran Rodriguez, and during the day, I'm a senior program officer with the Lancaster County Community Foundation. Me llamo Fran Rodriguez. Por el día, trabajo en el Lancaster County Community Foundation y después de las horas de trabajo, me gusta estar en la comunidad. When COVID-19 arrived in our community, it was a couple of days after my birthday, March 11th, and I remember the team huddling, thinking about what are we going to do next. And we quickly decided that we would be working remotely. And I was the first one to begin that process. I'm currently in my second year of surviving lung cancer. And during that time, I was still somewhat getting acclimated to being at work. So it was really hard. You never really know when your superpower, your resilience is going to come through for you until you're facing a moment of darkness. And COVID-19 was that moment for me. I needed to remain optimistic and healthy. I really felt that my community was counting on me. And because of that, I built up this, kind of hopeful way of living every single day. Our community foundation was not prepared for what happened, obviously, but we knew precisely what to do in terms of identifying dollars from the really generous donors in our community, and the Lancaster Cares Fund was established. People of color have faced many atrocities for centuries, right? And so Black and brown people in Lancaster, I have been urging friends and acquaintances in the community that this is the right time to step forward and get vaccinated, not only for yourself, but also for family members and for the community at large. This year was, I think, an added layer of shock. My older sister, Lydia, who lives in Atlanta, I hadn't seen her in maybe 5 years. I get a call that she's in the ICU, and then 2 days later, she was on a ventilator. You believe it, but you don't really know the impact of this pandemic until someone that close passes away. It's definitely real. Union Community Care had that day of healing at Longs Park, and it must have been 100 degrees outside. But I felt that was my ability to mourn Lydia and to say goodbye and yet to have a moment for her. This is a time for our communities to come together. There is no space for thinking about oneself. This thing is so much bigger than us, and it's only by way of working together that we're going to see this through. Get vaccinated.
Good morning. Wake up, guys. It's TCP in the morning.
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up. It's TCP in the morning.
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 TCP in the morning.
It's 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 TCP in the morning.
Good morning. Wake up, y'all. It's TCP in the morning with the morning tea.
Sing the song here in a minute.
TCP in the morning.
So,
we were rocking.
My bad.
just to let y'all know, we're going to repeat what we just said.
Restart the beat, DJ. Restart the beat.
What we just said. We giving a special shout out to the brothers of Phi Beta Sigma.
Blue fight. You man.
So just to let you know, yesterday was their Founders Day. I was telling Sarge that I got my blue and white on today.
He looking good.
So support for the brothers of Blue Phi Blue.
That's right.
Yeah.
What up?
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Phi Beta Sigma's got soul.
They got soul. They gonna get me excited.
How are you going?
Yes.
We gonna keep it real.
Good morning, everyone. Brush your teeth, brush your ass. Your morning team is back. We're back, Jack. We're back, Jack. Bang. We're back.
Hey, them guns is fast today.
Guns are blazing.
Quick girl.
Yes. Look alive. Sarge, what's going on?
How y'all doing? Good morning.
Yes.
Listen, it is that time.
Yes.
But before we do that, I gotta do this. Well. Let's go.
Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Listen, I just had to do that.
Yes.
What up? How y'all doing? Hope y'all had a great weekend. It was a cold one. Had some snow on Friday.
Yeah.
Really chilled things up and made the world look beautiful. I love when snow comes down. Just like it. I love it. But anyway, I'm glad to be here in the seat and glad y'all tuning in. What up, y'all?
You dig, Lady L, what up?
Good morning. Hey guys, listen, thank you for watching and thank you for tuning in. Go on ahead and share the stream. Show some love. Let us know that you're out there watching and that you know how to follow directions and share the stream. It's your Melanated news team. I'm not gonna lie, I was over there, I saw y'all jigging. And I was like, I've never watched regular news and seen them be jigging like that. Right? Seems so relaxed, so natural. And you can naturally share this stream. And don't forget, if you missed out, you can catch the stream. We were live streaming the Health Equity Music Festival, organized by who? Our Black Lady Doctors.
Hey.
Yes, our lovely OBGYNs, founders of Patients Are Waiting, organized and hosted the Health Equity Now Music Festival, offering flu shots, COVID vaccinations, and boosters, access to the funds for water and all that kind of stuff. Even had a makeup artist. So listen, guys, it'll be going on every Friday, continuing through February 11th. So go on ahead, and we hope to see you this Friday at Christmas Addicts to support our who? Our Black Lady Doctors. Over to the desk.
Hey, wanna welcome you to the show, yo. We getting in, yo, on this Monday, not a Sunday. Gonna have some on this Monday.
Oh,
you know who it is. Call me Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm.
And you know that I'm out of the norm.
What?
Got my man, yo. They call him the Sarge.
Hey.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Hey,
Bars. We do this.
having some fun this morning. My name is Marquise Lupton, also known as DJ Quiet Storm.
DJ Quiet Storm.
One of 3 hosts, one of 4 personalities on this thing we call TCP in the morning, the best thing that you can have in your cup. So, let's give a shout out to DJ Double Out.
Ooh.
I am going to respond to your shout out. Thank you for shouting me out. Good morning. Glad to be here as always. I'm looking for y'all in the comments. I see all the good mornings that we ain't hit yet, so y'all better keep them coming. Because Maylin, you ain't say good morning. David, you ain't say good morning. Cynthia, you ain't say good morning. Y'all better say it back. Say it back.
Right.
Good morning. Let's get these people
We need to have Medea on the show. Medea, get them moving. Medea, get them moving.
Ooh, get him. You lucky I can't see no names.
Yes, love it, love it, love it. Lisa, Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning. She says that she didn't know that Sarge was frat.
What? Where have you been? Excuse me.
Sabrina, good morning. James, good morning. Corinne.
Hey, what up, y'all?
Good morning, Corinne. I'm going to say your name 2 more times, Corinne, just to show you that I do know your name, and I might mess up and call you Corinne, but just know that, Corinne, I got nothing but love for you, baby.
I got nothing but love for you, baby.
Whatever.
Venus says bars. Oh, thank you very much. James says a lot of energy for a Monday morning. That's what's up. Marcus, good morning to you. Mary, good morning to you. And Sonia, good morning to you. It is great to see you on the live stream this morning. You know what? I think that we should have Imani edutators come up for some kind of interview. Miss Sonia, we gonna hit you up, set it up, bring you on the show. Hey,
we gonna get you doing this.
Yeah. Do a little bit of, hey, get it, hey. If you know it, sing it with me. Hey, time to get the people, yeah. Get the people what they want.
And that's the news.
With a shimmy.
Thanks for stopping by. Our first story for today, folks, begins in Harrisburg. This story comes from PennLive.com. So, as you all saw, the headline for today on the stream, a local school district has gone back to virtual training, virtual learning, whatever you have it, however you want it. It's Harrisburg, actually, folks. So, again, this comes from PennLive.com. Harrisburg School District to move to remote learning starting January 18th. So, Harrisburg School District announced last week that it will switch to remote learning starting January 18th because of the spike in COVID-19 cases. Eric Turman, the district superintendent, said in a note to the Harrisburg community that schools will shift to remote learning beginning next Monday and will resume in-person instruction after that. All schools and offices are closed on January 17th in observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Per the note, students will attend remote instruction from home via logging into Zoom through their Google Classroom. Students will follow their regular daily schedule. The district said that grab-and-go meals will be available on Tuesday, with students and family able to get them from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at John Harris campus, at the Kimber Gym entrance, Roland Academy, Foose School, Ben Franklin School, Downey School, and Camp Curtin. Masks are required. So again, excuse me, folks. That remote learning actually starts this week. They actually started today. So again, Eric Turman, the district superintendent, said in a note to the Harrisburg community that schools will shift to remote learning. So here we are. We see the first local school district taking a plan of action. Will other school districts follow? And to be honest, I love it. You know, it's better safe than sorry. And what we're seeing, especially with these snow days, are that schools are going to take the days off. Like, if they can take the day off, especially during this pandemic, if they can take the day off, they're going to take the day off just to help to try to mitigate the situation and, you know, the surges and everything like that. If they can find any little excuse, like, oh man, it's going to be extra cold, y'all. School shut down today. like, yo, find any excuse to shut it down.
It's crazy because my kids, at least my little one, she enjoys school so much that she was ready for a flexible instruction day. That's what they're called here when they do Zoom, a flexible instruction day. And she's 5, and she was ready. She's like, oh no, Mom, I have to do my classroom on my iPad. And then, like, we done went out and had a whole day. She's like, oh my goodness, Mom, I missed school. I was supposed to be on my iPad today. And I was like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. It was just a snow day. Just a snow, that's it. Not doing work, no, that's it, right? But also, and we will drop the information down in the comments, but Students are to receive their communication about their instructional day from their first class meeting or their advisory class meeting. And then during that, they'll learn how to access their instructional materials, attend classes, and request assistance for the day. Attendance will be verified by participation and presence on the virtual sessions. So parents, what that means is you can't just have your kids sitting there, especially if you're home. You can't just have your child sitting there and be like, yeah, I'm here. Like, no, it's presence and participation, right? So please make sure that those cameras are on. For more information, you can contact your child's teacher, and all offices and information tech support will be open and available. So if you're on our Facebook feed, we're going to go ahead and drop that number in for Harrisburg School District tech support. So you can go ahead and give them a call if you are in need of any resources while your child is learning from home between now and January 18th. Gentlemen.
Look, I think we need to see more. We want to see more schools go back to this. We kind of need to, as much as we want to get back to normal. Kids' safety, our kids' safety is the most important thing above all. Right. All right, and we know schools are what? Schools are a petri dish, a cesspool. Like, they get everything. They are the waiting pool. They are the baby pool. All right, every kind of disease, majority of diseases come through the school, come through students, and that's how they get home. All right, so we need to see more school districts hop on board and make this happen. And plus, there aren't really any more snow days. I kind of learned that on Friday. You know, it's whatever day the parent decides when it snows.
Yeah.
All right, because if they don't go to school, as a parent, you may be inclined to sleep in. I'm sure there'll be a 2-hour delay. It's snowing. Come to find out, that 2-hour delay doesn't matter on a remote learning day.
Right, 8 a.m.
Yeah, look, I'm not judging. You got to be up still. Still got to be up. No more delays. All right, parents? No more delays. But, yeah, that was one of the things that I found.
My child thought she was going to have a delay because they sent out a message the night before and was like, yeah, school district's going to be on a 2-hour delay. So, of course, you know, I was already up at like 6 o'clock, then already checked the news, so I knew everything was closed, and I didn't say nothing. I just wanted to see what my kids was going to do. So I let them get up and go ahead and do their things, right? So then I get downstairs. My oldest is like, yeah, Mom, come on, I got to get ready. You know, it's a 2-hour delay. I was like, no, it's not. School's closed. And she's like, what? I got up at 8 o'clock for nothing? Oh. And it's real, like, and she has one of those, like, Disney character personalities, so it was real animated when she was, like, frustrated that she got up and got herself together. And it's just like, ma'am, you were sitting downstairs playing your video game anyway. Like, how were you seriously ready for your flexible instruction day or your 2-hour late arrival?
Can we just say that the Disney shows have made our kids all super melodramatic?
Oh, my God.
They act everything out.
Yep.
Oh, like they do the most.
They need baby boomers for parents.
It's like watching an episode of iCarly.
But we watched, you know, Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, but we weren't dramatic because our parents popped us and beat us and did all those traumatic things that we turned around and said we're not going to do to our kids, and now here they are acting how they acted.
Getting beat. I mean, still getting popped.
To the comment section, Candace says, good morning, TCP family. Good morning to you, Candace. Always great to see you in the comment section. Corinne says their safety at school is really playing a toll on students' mental health. Mine don't want to even go now. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Mm-hmm. That's a point. Rebecca says, good for them. And then Corinne says, our pre-K FID instruction was to make fun in the snow and send them pictures. Richard Nornhold says, good morning. And Cynthia says, I was busy sharing y'all because I understood the assignment.
The assignment.
Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Jen says, good morning. Adam, good morning to you, Adam. He says, is it Disney or is it us? I think it is a nice little combination of both.
Right. Because they can be dramatic from watching Disney, but it was on us as parents of culture to pop that.
No. Well, I mean, some of us parents are a little dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of us.
No.
That's okay, because you can beat the dramaticism out of some of these children.
Oh, Dad, you sound straight old school.
See?
You about to send that kid out to get a switch.
With the made up words and everything.
Right. She's like, the Bible says, spare the rod.
And with that child.
It says, don't whoop your child, he's going to be bad and go to hell.
Lady L is old school. By old school, we mean Old Testament.
And it'd be so funny when I be fussing at my kids and my relatives be like, you beat your kid?
Not all the time.
Keisha says good morning, and Rachel says good morning, and Renardo, good morning to Rochelle. Rochelle, I'm sorry, I said Rachel. Rochelle, I saw the picture, and I'm like, that is
It's not Rachel.
that looks like Rochelle.
Yes, Rachel.
Good morning to you all. So, folks, again, the Harrisburg School District has transformed into virtual learning for this week, and will bounce back to in-person learning. They're saying possibly next week. We are currently discussing if other schools and other school districts will follow. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say no.
The school district of Lancaster is not going to go.
No.
I don't see them doing it.
No, they're already losing money.
First of all, Dr. Rao is adamant about not being in the building. Her niggas that had their tails in that building, period.
Do we really need to be in the building now? Like, do we want people want their kids back in school? Did they get them vaccinated? Like, masks are optional.
Yo, and that's the whole situation.
That's the whole question.
Listen, let me know down in the comments if y'all want us to share our kids getting vaccinated, because they handle it like, geez. Shiloh is a Heisman winner.
2 steps, yo. Whoop, she look like Barry. Barry Sanders out
It
the
was
chair.
like 4 adults trying to grab one little girl. And
know
she
they were
slipped out of all of us.
They were grabbing air. It took Dad to come over like this.
Hit her off with the scorpion. Come here.
All right, so we have some schools that are dealing with the pandemic, and they're dealing with this, but then we have a school in Bucks County.
Yeah.
The Penridge School District.
Yeah.
All right, so they're a Bucks County school, and this takes us to our next story. They have explicitly instructed teachers not to wade into discussions with students about the January 6, 2021 insurrection in Washington, D.C., due to the current polarization and strong emotions. We're a year out, too, guys. We're a year out. So in an email sent Wednesday to social studies teachers and school principals in the Penridge School District, Administrator Keith Vaverka, who supervises social studies classes, wrote that if students ask about the insurrection, teachers should simply state that the investigation is ongoing, and as historians, we must wait until there is some distance from the event for us to accurately interpret it. The note asked teachers to stick to business as usual. In the email thread, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education Kathleen Brewster-Scheid added that the purpose of the email was to remind teachers that not enough time has passed to be able to design clear lessons on all of the outcomes, and that Vaverka felt that most teachers weren't prepared to teach on the topic. The email, which the teacher shared with WHYY, arrived in faculty inboxes the day before the one-year anniversary of violent riots that saw supporters of former President Donald Trump storm the U.S. Capitol in hopes of stopping a vote to certify the 2020 election. In the year that followed, federal law enforcement have arrested more than 700 people for their part in the calamity. Investigations into the assailants have found a commonality: people who support former President Donald Trump and falsely believe he won the election. Soon after the Penridge teachers received the message from the administration, word began to leak out to parents. Kevin Foster, who has 2 children in the district and 1 in pre-K, said he heard about the email from other engaged parents. He found it immensely concerning. When we start to meddle with what we want to tell kids or not tell kids in terms of history, I mean, that's something that you find in authoritarian countries, he said. There are those that are so focused on politics instead of the kids that they're going to meddle and put their thumb on the scale as to what we want to tell the kids in the schools and what happened in the not-so-distant past. Asked to clarify the district's position, Penridge Superintendent David Bolton said multiple teachers had reached out to Vaverka ahead of his note, asking for guidance about addressing the insurrection. For those seeking guidance, we suggest that if asked, staff could discuss that role in time plays and forming historical views, he wrote in an email. Broadly speaking, however, there is simply no way to predict or address every question that may arise in a classroom. Penridge teachers remain able to address any topic of current events in a constructive and appropriate manner. Now, I'll bite into this one first.
Yeah.
All right, so going into this one, pick and choose. You see how we pick and choose? Okay, we don't want to teach about racism. We don't want to have this. We don't want to have that. We don't want to have anything that makes a certain type of America look bad.
Yep. Say that again. A certain type of America look bad.
A certain type of America. Like, forget everybody else. But this 30%, that minority that doesn't give two craps about a minority.
Yep.
You know, I don't understand how we do that. How we can let these minorities have a bigger voice than the majority. Now, how does that happen?
It's crazy. It's even and to Jen's comment, you know, the caucasity, because like just imagine feeling so emboldened to contact your kid's school and say, look, I don't want you to discuss the bad parts of January 6th, as if there were good parts. But to get that phone call and to say, you know, if you're going to discuss January 6th, only discuss the good parts. To have that much gall, you know, like that's like me calling up my children's school and say, hey, look, I know my daughter's shaking geometry, but we don't like triangles. So
I think we need to remove them from the whole playbook.
Right, teach her anything else but triangles.
Rectangles.
Right.
You can even do a prism.
Right. And if you double down and teach her about some isosceles, oh my goodness.
Something that I can't even spell.
I'm offended. They out here teaching about isosceles.
You the one being obtuse talking about a triangle.
Let's go. Like just the again, to Jen's point, the caucasity of it.
I think it's really interesting, though, to have a part of why they shouldn't talk about it is because there's no way for the teachers to answer all the questions that might arise. That is the point of school, to help you learn or critically think, or apparently not in the Pent Ridge district in Bucks County. And it's crazy because as black and brown people, especially those of us that are in those cities like Philadelphia, we say, oh, we got to go out into the county because they're going to be good schools. We got to go out into the county. Good schools for who? For who? Because here we are having this discussion, and you can't even be honest and forthcoming as history is being made. Because let me tell you what they didn't do. They didn't wait umpteen years to talk about 9/11. They didn't wait until the troops came home to talk about Afghanistan or Iraq.
And Lady L, that's a good point. With 9/11, what's the tagline with 9/11? Never forget.
Always remember, never forget.
Right.
What's up with slavery? Oh, it's old. Can y'all forget it? Stop talking about it.
None of us were alive when that happened.
Right.
Always remember Pearl Harbor.
Right. Yo.
Oh my goodness.
Straight. But January 6th. Never mind the people climbing.
What are y'all talking about January 6th?
Why are we talking about that? Don't talk
there
about
wasn't even nobody. All I know is some people gathered. There was a conversation. Some people, the cops showed up and people left. That's all I know.
They blew it out of proportion. People are acting as if people didn't die. People are acting as if a security agent didn't have to shoot somebody that was trying to get to Nancy Pelosi.
As if it wasn't on CNN.
As if we didn't watch it live like we watched the September 11th attacks.
Right.
It was just as real September 11th.
Yes.
It was just as real as watching the second plane hit and watching in disbelief.
Right. Yeah.
We watched in disbelief as these people climbed towers, as they sprayed bear spray into these officers' faces and smashed them with stuff.
Yeah.
And killed, they altered these officers' lives forever.
Right. I don't know in what way is having a guillotine not a threat.
In what way is putting poop on the wall a tourist thing to do? I'll tell you this, we went
to the Capitol.
Right. And you know what I didn't do? Put some ish on the wall.
Ain't trying to take over nobody's office.
Right.
I didn't think we got to see an office.
Getting to our kids spend majority of their young adulthoods, their young lives in schools.
Yeah.
All right, they're going to have the most questions to their teachers. Because the teachers are the ones that are preparing them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to have great conversations in college.
So these teachers should be able to discuss January 6th. They should be. And they should be able to discuss it as open dialogue.
Right.
Know how everybody's feeling.
But
talk to people and discuss.
Thinking.
Yeah, but they have to discuss. You have to talk about the rights and wrongs. All right, I bet you they discussed Black Lives Matter. I bet you there was no issue. There was nothing put out to tell teachers, hey, don't discuss Black Lives Matter. Hey, don't discuss why. Don't talk about the reason why. Don't discuss Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. Don't discuss that. It can go on. We're picking and choosing.
Right.
Remember this, not that. Think about this, not that.
To me, it would be a tragedy to have our history be talked about more in the future than it is while we're living it.
Right.
And it sounds irresponsible to allow that to happen. We should be forming the narrative around what's happening, not having a conversation about what someone else has happened. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And that feels like an irresponsible way to approach this.
They're changing the narrative. This is how the narrative begins to change. This is how you get, a murderer like Christopher Columbus
having a holiday.
You get, it goes from him mowing down people, murdering people, to 1492.
But that's what
Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Right, they made a
people out of it.
Now imagine in 100 years, there's going to be a lovely little January 6th little poem for children to learn, and instead of we treating it like terrorism or like treason, we treat it like the Boston Tea Party, right? Something that is celebrated, something where we say, hey, those men, they stuck it to the man to make America better so that we can have what we need. And that's how it'll turn around. And that's how they'll spin it. Because guess what? They make our history books. They're already teaching in our schools. They've already made these decisions. It's more insidious as to why we don't have as many black and brown people in certain industries than what we think. And while we're here, we do got some decent comments from our audience members that I did not want us to miss. But Rebecca, and I love this. This is about being a part of it. She wrote at dinner on January 6th. My husband asked my son, "Did you guys talk about the march on the Capitol today?" She said, "I about flipped the table." I was like, "You mean the insurrection?" Because people march, and that's not what happened. He said he was using the term tongue in cheek. But we had a full discussion about being honest and not letting terrorism beat democracy. Sorry, the feed kind of kept on going, that's why I wanted to hurry up and hit it. And that's what it's about, even having these discussions with your family and friends when you can, and not just letting them go on and promote it or defend it or anything like that, but having serious discussions about it. And then what are you saying around your kids?
Yeah, you know what gets me is a lot of families can talk about anything. Families can talk about anything but the hard stuff.
Right.
But the stuff like racism, but the stuff like the insurrection. When you're in a big family and you guys have them debates, you've been to family functions where you guys get into debates and stuff but yeah, it comes to certain things and some people are just mum on it. And it sucks too because you have mixed families.
Right.
Okay? And with these mixed families, or these families that adopt people, whether it's black kids, Spanish, whatever, there's different views.
Yeah.
So when you choose not to discuss this, you're creating more of a problem, more of a toxic environment. You gotta have the talk.
Yep.
By ignoring it and acting like it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. It still stays there with its big, and it's gonna rear its big ugly face. And rather be prepared for it. Rather have your family members, your kids, your loved ones prepared for it when they go out than just being out there with what?
To the comment section, Rebecca says, hopefully all those kids are watching TikTok and YouTube videos and more informative information. Adam says, prime example of systemic white supremacy in Downingtown School District. We were not allowed to talk about the 2016 election the day after Trump won. What a slap in the face to the teachers as well. That's insane. Jen says, isn't that what teaching / modeling critical thinking is all about? Sophie, good morning to you. Good morning to you. I'll be in your inbox later on today talking about you coming up and doing a cooking example on the morning show. Cannot wait for that. Gary, Good morning to you, Gary. Gary
What up,
says,
Gilbert?
good morning. We live in Hempfield. We chose to keep our daughter out of school. This is her second year doing virtual school. This year is different than last year. I am her teacher this year. Good luck to her.
Gary's mad smart. I know classify man hard.
Hempfield School District, where you see parents fighting mask mandates, now fighting to keep kids out of school. People are crazy. Here's the deal. After today, my daughter is done for the semester. We have worked to keep her ahead of her syllabus by 2 weeks. We planned for this. We downsized, we prepared, and we are prepared for an unmanageable schedule for 5 years. Pandemics ain't no joke.
Go ahead, Gary.
Right. That's how you do it. I'm about to send my
Gary
kids
Bear.
over to the Brown household. Like, go ahead and get that Brown education.
Don't worry, they go.
Brown Elementary.
Right.
We've been talking about like this Black Education Collective or like co-op. Maybe we need to be sending our kids over to Gary's.
Principal Brown.
I will make sure.
No, we're going to do one better. Superintendent Brown.
Superintendent Brown. Right.
We will make sure they are vaccinated.
Right.
And make sure that we talking about race and slavery, and we use the 1619 in our school.
Right. He's gonna be our Joe Clark.
Right.
Used to call me Crazy Joe. Now they call me Batman. All right. So where we at? Jen says not even good parts, but we don't know enough. We have to let the investigation history play out. That part right there. We don't know enough. After a year and it playing out on CNN,
We watched it.
People getting arrested.
People choose not to. Like people choose. You don't want to believe it.
right?
Like how you don't want to believe it. You don't remember during the summer. You don't remember during that same summer, right? Oh, Black Lives Matter is they're gonna be here protesting. Call the National Guard.
They
We need the guard.
They weren't there. They weren't there.
There were credible threats to this.
But I think that it's also, I mean, you got to think about the American system, right? Like, there's always been this fear of black bodies and blackness. So, yes, if black people are going to be out and about, then we need to beat it. They're going to do something crazy.
And to that point, there's a story that just came out on AP talking about the Capitol Police, and they got the evidence and they got the reports of there was going to be some kind of insurrection. They thought, and here's Adam, another point of white supremacy. They thought that it was going to be a small, remote ordeal. They thought that it wasn't going to be some big dust up. And I want to ask, why did you think that?
Right. Was it because it wasn't Black Lives Matter that you assumed? So you assume that some of the most secret societies that have been operating, built in our country for generations, ain't out here doing stuff. And you thought that they were going to show up with 25 people. They don't even show up to those school board meetings with 25 people.
Exactly.
They didn't even show up here when Joe Biden came here. They didn't show up with 25 people. Somebody ordered a bus. People came out from Virginia. People came out from Quarryville.
They had a
People came out
semi.
from DC.
People
in
at
a
E-Town.
semi. Right.
Partying on the back.
Yeah.
Like, come on, they did all of that just to show support for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
While Joe Biden came into our sweet little town.
Yeah.
And you always say, what is it? Don't talk religion, sex, or politics. Right? Don't talk religion, sex, or politics.
And you see where we at not talking about
Yeah,
sex
and that's
in schools.
That's where we were, and that was the problem. Like the older generation, nothing against you guys. Great, you guys paved the way for us to repave it, and pave over it, and make more of a way. Right? We help, but not having these discussions have hurt us and stopped us from progressing forward. Like all three of them. Like we should not have a problem with a person because of their religion. Should not have a person with a problem because of their sexual preference. You shouldn't have a problem with someone because of their politics. You should be able to talk unless their politic views are more racist.
Right.
There's a
why
difference.
People can't ascend. That's why the
there's a
aliens
difference.
ain't coming for us, because we too busy fighting over petty stuff that we can't ascend to the next level. That's why. That's all I'm saying. Before we move on to more comments or the next story.
Yeah.
These comments are popping too.
Yeah, they are. Keep them coming. Lisa says, Selective memories. This will be the new Mandela effect. Yeah, that part. Sabrina says it was an unsanctioned tour, and that's what they're trying to make it. Richard says those who fail to learn their history are doomed to repeat it, while those of us who know our history are doomed to watch those idiots repeat it. Jen says, I bet that they didn't want to approach that either. Not that they won't, but I don't think they want to touch it with a 10-foot pole in schools. And then continues to say, we stop asking for the truth. And that's the point. Gary says, just imagine if the Capitol Hill police would have shot first in self-defense, we would not be talking about January 6, 2021, because it would be like a suburb school shooting. After 3 days, it's forgotten. Yeah. Rochelle says they want us to forget, so we have nothing to be our strength or reason to fight back. They want us to forget, so we don't build up. That's a page from the slavery book. You know, you tire these slaves out, work them to the bone, they won't revolt.
I want to say this is why it's so important to vote.
Yeah.
This is why we have to redo the district maps. This is why gerrymandering needs to be taken care of. Because no matter what, it doesn't matter how many people we have, how if something's right, something is right.
Right.
And when the majority of people, hey, this is right, they can recognize right, that has to prevail. So the minority has control of everything. We give up. We don't say anything. We want things to change.
Right.
But not enough people vote. We have to make people vote. We have to be on people the same way we are about our football teams, about the things that we love. You have to love this as much because this is life.
Right.
We got to be the ones, the bearers of the truth.
We do.
We do got a comment here on IG. I am Naibi says, beautiful and blessed day to y'all. Thanks for all the light y'all share.
Hey.
Yes, thank
much.
you. And over on the Facebook side, Rebecca says, I pissed half my extended family off on Saturday when I told them that when they eat at Chick-fil-A, they are actually supporting hate. Their consumer dollars are being used to actually fund anti-LGBTQ and similar organizations. I was raised that you shouldn't talk about religion or politics, but I think that is part of the problem. If you don't talk about it, you are just pretending it doesn't exist. And that's a great point. Corinne says, you take an enrollment for my kids in reference to the Gary E. Brown School of Excellence. Jen says, Clarence Thomas's wife organized a bus, but nobody's talking about that in reference to organizing a bus for January 6th. Rochelle says it's too many people that judge. This is why we can't make it. Thank you, Lady L. And then Jen says, Sarge, happening now. Don't wait because redistricting won't happen again until after the next census, which is 10 years from now. So just to keep that on your radar. To the folks that just joined us, good morning to you. Do not be rude. Say it in the comments section. Good morning. Say it back. Don't be rude. You are watching TCP in the morning. Lady L, can you take us to our next story, please?
I mean, I can. I don't know if y'all want to hear this story. So listen, Texas is off the chain, y'all. Acting up. There's potentially a charter school that was looking to open that is now had to pump their brakes. Yep. Charter school had to pump their brakes. So let's, administrators for Essence Preparatory Public School in San Antonio were told that certain statements, authors, or written works, including quote from How to Be an Anti-Racist author Ibram X. Kendi, must be deleted from their application and website before state regulators would approve its application. The school also was instructed to submit a statement assuring its design and curriculum materials comply with the state's education code, including its new law governing how race and slavery are taught in the classrooms. Essence Prep's administrators removed all anti-racism references from the school's website and application in response before receiving a charter. The school is scheduled to open in August. A previous version of Essence Prep's website stated that the school is determined to address the legacy of racism in education. They said, we reflect consistently and look at ourselves as we consider the role race plays in our work, experiences, and decisions, the old website stated. We listen and actively pursue actions that lead us to be clear and focused on systemic educational reform to achieve social, cultural, environmental, economic, and racial justice. The Essence Prep website also previously said the school strives to embody anti-racist practice and pedagogy, and included a quote from Candy that said, the opposite of racist is not racist, it is anti-racist. Former San Antonio City Council staffer Akeem Brown is the founder and superintendent of Essence Prep, who submitted an estimated 500-page application for the school to the Texas Education Agency in earlier 2021. The Texas Education Agency, or T, governs primary and secondary public education in Texas. Essence Prep was on its way to receiving final approval when Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, signed House Bill 3979 into law. And that was the one talking about the curriculum and talking about race and slavery in Texas public schools. So here we are, Texas acting up, and I'm so sad because just hearing about the school and the idea of it, let me tell y'all something, it doesn't have to be in Texas. It doesn't have to be in Texas. Apply for a charter in Georgia. Apply for a charter in South Carolina.
Yeah,
apply for a charter in Virginia.
Because I'm sure South Carolina and Georgia will be much better.
All I'm saying.
We heard of the Great Migration to Georgia.
All I'm saying, right? That thing be right in Atlanta.
They're taking over.
Well, okay, yes, touche, Lady L, right in Atlanta, touche, yes.
So that's what I'm thinking. Just keep moving it. So when I think about it, and hearing this school, this could be like the black people version of KIPP. Mm-hmm. And KIPP is all over the country, and they started down south with a charter school, and now they're all over the country with charter schools for KIPP charter. And not for nothing, I'm a fan of it. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of KIPP charter. I've seen what it's done for my nephews and nieces and cousins who've gone from kindergarten and graduated with their high school diplomas from KIPP. So I could see, KIPP being a predecessor to Essence's Prep and having it be a school model that can be all across the country.
Yeah.
And this is why people support charters, because they're doing things that parents want to have done, that parents want their kids to learn. But for some odd reason, school districts are saying, no, parent, you don't know what you're talking about. We're not teaching your child that. We're going to teach them this over here. And which is why we have these issues. I got a 5-year-old who's been doing math since before she was doing math. Right? Like that was something that she decided to start doing. She randomly started, if I have 2 of these and then I get 4 more, how many do I have? And now here we are every day.
And the most depressing thing about this is the last paragraph in this article. It says, Essence Prep's administrators removed all anti-racism references from the school's website and application in response before receiving their charter in October. So the school is scheduled to open in August, but like just think like this was a part of the reason for them existing to combat this, and now they have to remove their identity. Isn't that a microcosm of the black experience in America? Hiding your identity, removing yourself, watering down your culture so that it can be palatable to those that, are outside of said culture. This is what oppression looks like.
That's why we code switch, right?
Exactly.
Get away from code switching. But Texas continues to do this kind of stuff. We need this kind of, like, if it wasn't needed, if we didn't need to say it, if it didn't need to be taught, we wouldn't have to.
Right.
We wouldn't have to have this. All right, but we do, because we can't teach history about it.
Right.
We can't teach about not using racism, not being racist. What can we do?
You let white people
where do we
live in
go?
a dream world where everything is fine. Everything is fine. What? I don't see that. Everything is fine. I don't see color. We're all the same color. What are you talking about? Everything is fine.
When America sees a problem, America will address that problem. Homeland security. You know, America saw a problem and got that problem handled. The war on drugs. America saw a problem and attempted to get that problem handled. The war on terrorism. Saw a problem and handled to get that problem handled.
Don't forget our plastic waste.
But we have never, and I want America to realize this, we have never had an open fight against racism.
Never.
The Civil War wasn't about it. And I hate when people say that, when people are like, oh, well, the Civil War was about ending slavery. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It's about economics.
Right. It was about economics. And to be quite honest, the Union was annoyed as hell. And they honestly, a part of them, they were fighting to keep their own jobs. Because they were partially afraid that when them slaves got free, that they were going to come north and take their jobs. So they already had beef with those people beforehand. But nobody's talking about that because they told y'all not to talk about it in your history books.
It sounds like Americans, go ahead.
Yeah. If we are one United States, the federal government should be in charge of each state, right? We should be able to slap states with sanctions. We should be able to tell states what they can and can't do.
Right.
Like these states, like I get it. All right, you want to keep the power, give the power to the states, let the states do this. But when the state is wrong and doing wrong, don't just do an investigation with the Department of Justice. Hold them accountable.
Right.
Start with their congressmen. Start with their guys in office. Their legislators.
Lose a seat. Something.
Yeah, like don't give them the power anymore.
Right.
That's the only way to beat these people is to take power away.
But who's
Unless
going
you're
to take
taking
it
power
away?
away.
So you're expecting white people to hold other white people accountable and take it away? The same people who aren't locking up the police force, who's out here committing crimes and abusing their power? Them same people?
I'm expecting
That's
everybody.
the problem that we have, though. And they keep
everybody
the
to hold
power.
everybody
They
accountable.
keep the power so insulated amongst themselves and each other. This is how they pick out Tom to be the next so-and-so, such-and-such for the town. And then they get behind them. Tom becomes mayor. And now Tom's doing whatever the bidding that the people told them to do. And it just keeps going. And they keep sliding under the radar. Like it's ridiculous in it, but at the same time, it's working the way it's supposed to. We're having a discussion about what? A document that's older than everybody in this room, older than every single state, and we're still governing ourselves by it. You're absolutely right, Sarge. Why is it that the states have so much free reign? Mm-hmm. And the government's sitting back. Well, if you think about it historically, when they came over here trying to escape the king's rule of Britain, no, we're going to give you all your own power. You're going to be able to do what you want to do. That's why we're here today having these foolish discussions. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. And we're here until we change the legislation, until we change the law, until we sue the U.S. government. Like that, this is just where we're at because we got to learn how to play the game that they've been playing for generations. And we're just figuring it out. We're just starting to get pieces. I'm done. Mike drop. I'm done. I'm sorry, y'all.
Neville Longbottom says, good morning to you, Neville. Kate says, good morning. Crescentia, what's going on? Good morning to you. Jen says, so gross. Sophie says, what? Not Texas. What a surprise. Neville says, it feels like we should just stop funding Texas federally. Gary says, I want to talk about why churches should be taxed. Graham talk ish about Biden. Where was Franklin Graham when Trump was POTUS? You have one finger pointed at Biden and four fingers pointed back at yourself. Stay out of politics and resolve your own family's generational curses. The four fingers are divorce, drugs, drinking, and number 4, your adulterous Pollyannic son. Stay the F out of politics or pay taxes. Good point. Rochelle says, which is why we should start teaching our kids the things we want them to learn because they don't care to teach the truth. Folks, keep the comments coming. If you are watching, just tuned in, put in the comment section good morning so that we can say good morning to you back. You are watching TCP in the morning, brought to you by Penny.com. That is PENNIE.com. Penny.com, Pennsylvania's #1 healthcare marketplace. You have until the 15th, January 15th, to sign up for healthcare coverage. You can see if you qualify for $0 down and a $0 premium when you sign up with Penny.com. 9 out of 10 Pennsylvanians qualify for some kind of financial assistance when it comes to Penny.com. So again, folks, that is PENNIE.com. Yes, Lady L, before we get to our next story.
I did want to if you have already signed up for Penny last year, you do need to re-enroll. All right, so listen, if you signed up for Penny and you got like the benefits from unemployment or the American Rescue Plan or the CARES Act, you do need to reapply so that you can maintain those discounts. So going ahead, you have until January 15th. I just wanted to make that noted because I know that there are some people who are like, oh, I signed up last year. Yes, you have to re-enroll. You have to re-sign up every year for healthcare coverage. And I just want to make sure that you guys did not miss your opportunity. In case you haven't already, again, that day is my handsome husband co-host at January 15th. And your coverage will start February 1st. All right.
All right, and next story, folks. This story comes from Blavity.com. And it says that medical schools notice an enrollment incline among who? Among black students. Hey. Love it, love it, love it. And not only black students, but black male students. So let's dig into the numbers. So new data shows the number of black students pursuing medical physician careers across the nation is increasing. The number of first-year black students is up 21%. A record incline since only 2 years ago, 2020. We have never seen such an increase within a short amount of time. This is from Norma Polhunter, leader of the workforce diversity efforts at the Association of American Medical Colleges, or AAMC. According to the association's latest data released in 2019, only 5% of the country's doctors are black. Polhunter suggested black patients are likely to convey satisfaction with their care when their physicians look like them. When black physicians, male physicians, are working with black male patients, we see better outcomes in preventative care or on cardiac care, Polhunter said. We've also seen that in terms of infant mortality as well. Colleges and universities are curating new, diverse, and inclusive procedures to reduce barriers for students of color. Polhunter said medical schools are combating against disparities afflicting black students by looking beyond test scores, waiving application fees, and having remote student interviews, utilizing unconscious bias in their admissions procedures. Joy Saki, a dean for multicultural affairs and global health at Tufts, expressed the ongoing racial injustices have influenced the admissions office to double down on their diversity efforts. That acknowledgement is leading to more diversity on campus. We've been working hard at this. Inclusive plans will allow a fair opportunity for black students to receive a second look at their applications, especially from underrepresented communities. Medical schools are like the Titanic, she continued. It's very difficult to move policies and processes, to be honest, but we are a medical school that has declared that we want to work towards becoming an anti-racist institution. This stand may also have signaled to applicants whom we accepted that maybe this is a place that they can call home. With medical school costing an extensive amount, graduates will finish with thousands of dollars in debt, leaving many to reconsider becoming a physician. But we perpetuate that issues like these are because we give scholarships for merit and not scholarships for need. We've got to find ways to decrease the cost of medical schools. Medical schools plan to provide more equality and need-based scholarships instead of merit-based scholarships. So on Tufts medical school student, Sabrina Lima, a daughter of Haitian immigrants, is a part of a small black medical school student community on their campus and says that she wants to open up clinics in low-income areas. She is anticipating to graduate and help families in Newark, New Jersey, which is close to her home of Union, New Jersey. So we're seeing, doctors take this approach of like a give back kind of thing because they know the disparities. I love the fact that the diversity aspect is being taken a step further and being looked at the admissions process. Because you can have all the black applicants you want. You can have all the Latinx applicants you want. But if they're not getting in, then all those numbers and upticks and everything like that really doesn't mean anything. So the fact that they're looking at this process at such a microscopic level, that they're looking at the admissions process, and then they're making a way for you to challenge your admissions denial. That's lovely. That is lovely, and I cannot wait, because when I am old and gray, when I'm 60 plus years old, I'm looking forward to, having a menu.
Plethora of black.
Right. Dr. Tyrone is busy, so I'm gonna go to Dr. Sariq. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we here.
I want some real ethnic names too.
Yes.
Would you guys think that maybe it's a difference too in the way that we're raising our kids, the way that we're seeing kids raised now? Mm-hmm. We're seeing parents who are not like it's no longer the days where there's only every now and then you have enough black kids. You have some black kids who can afford to become doctors, who can actually take the time to go to school for that long without having to get into the world to try and make some money to try to take care of themselves and their family. You know what I mean? You see more families taken care of and be able to send their kids to school, become doctors.
Right.
Being able to afford, being able to actually take the time to go through life and not have to get right in, not be out there.
Right.
I think we're at the point where we're starting to see the benefits of generational wealth in the black community. You know what I mean? To your point, Sarge, where, people are affording college now, right? A young man can go back home and live at home while, pursuing his medical career. And, at one point when that was frowned upon because, I really couldn't afford to keep you.
Right.
Now I can afford to keep you. So, it affords you these opportunities to, not only travel more, right, which we're seeing a lot more of also, right? We see an uptick in that as well. But, to go and further your education. And, we probably would have a lot more black doctors if we had black parents that could afford it when we were younger.
Yeah. That support system. I look at the news field. The news industry is still 75% white. It's still 75% white. But when you look at how people get into it, at the beginning, you're making nickels. Like you're making like below $20,000 a year. So when you're making that much or not making that much, there's that issue of money at the beginning. And if you don't come from a situation of privilege, then that situation at the beginning is going to be less attractive, which means what? There's going to be less black and brown kids coming into the industry because I don't want to come out of school
with all that money
and be making less per year than what I was doing when I was in school.
To pay back all the money that you don't have.
Right.
Start off with bad credit.
Right.
There was even a number, even back during our time of college, there were a number of people, because I used to want to go to medical school and be a doctor. Mm-hmm. And there were a number of people who were discouraging me, whether it was the schools that I chose or like my plan. Like I had my own little plan. Even my college person was like, maybe do a community college first and then transfer and then you can. Why are you worried about my financial situation if I'm not worried about it? I'm trying to apply to school. But in with that, the unconscious bias that people have over our children, right? And you mentioned that in the story, like some of these schools addressing the disparities amongst their students by doing what, like remote interviews, right? Or waiving the application fees, looking into having need-based scholarship. Now think about that, right? Think about what kind of doctors would be coming from poor neighborhoods. Should you even look to go to medical school if you need scholarship money? Like, what does that say about the medical field before you can even get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like how many kids, and we're seeing this now with our nieces and nephews going on to college, but how much scholarship money are you actually going to get? Because that's going to have a determination on if you go to this school or not. Period, point blank. There are a lot of people that have that experience. And I mean, it's just like, well, maybe that 5% of black doctors was purposeful, right? It was purposeful. You're giving merit-based scholarship, but I don't even go to a school that you would even look at, right? Because I'm going to so-and-so public school in New York, or so-and-so public school in Jersey City, or so-and-so public school in Philadelphia. So you're already not appreciating my grades because there's somebody from some county school somewhere in America who's also fighting for that spot.
My diploma looks different.
Right. And guess what? They didn't have to worry about an application fee. They didn't need a fee waiver. So who do you think the medical school is going to take?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The part of the 5% of black doctors, that's on purpose. And that's why we have shots out to our black lady doctors here in Lancaster for doing dope stuff and helping to close those disparity gaps in need for black healthcare providers.
AAMC also announced the 2021 official guide to medical school admissions. That guide is actually free for the first time ever. So just stuff like this, you know, this guide being free, it then offers the opportunity for more people that are disadvantaged to have the opportunity to get into medical school. Gary says, I'm glad to see young black men stepping up into the medical field. I want to see more in the prevention alternative medical industry. Instead of troubleshooting health-related problems, I want to see more prevention. Big pharma should not benefit. I want to see us go more into prevention and alternative to prescription medications. I'm telling you, man, Gary E. Brown
School of Excellence
coming to a community near you, and bringing up the fact that he's brought up churches and churches being taxed and everything. Some of our first schooling institutions in the black community was churches.
And I'm so confused why they're still not. Like, I don't understand why some of these churches don't have a whole college situation going on. Just educate the whole community, K through 12, and then we send them to Brightside Baptist Black College, you know, owned by the church. Like, it just, oh, you know what? I remember. It was the separation of church and state.
And Crispus Attucks, that was once a school, and not too long ago. Like we have people walking around right now that are like, oh yeah, I spent my 4th grade year at Crispus Attucks. Like, oh, I spent my third grade year at Bethel and my 4th grade year at Crispus Attucks. Like, we used to have these situations set in place.
There was actually a school behind Crispus Attucks, right?
I do want to say though, over the past 120 years, there's been the current proportion of physicians who are black in the United States has only increased by only 4 percentage points. All right, so that's from 1900 to 1918. Like, they found that there was 11.6% of the nation's population was black, 1.3% of physicians were black. In 1940, when 9.7% of the total population was black, 2.8%, almost all were men. But by 2018, when 12.8% of the total population was black, 5.4% of U.S. physicians were black, 2.6% were men, and 2.8% were women. So, like, it's good to finally see these numbers grow, but 120 years, 4%.
But think about it, though, that there were years that they couldn't go to school. Mm-hmm. How many black doctors couldn't go to school, or the stories that we've learned about black doctors who had to sit outside of the classroom and listen because by law they couldn't go to school with white people? You know what I'm saying? And again, I just shared with you guys, you know, my degree or my high school diploma from an inner city school looks different than your high school diploma from a suburban school. So now when we play this dichotomy and we're both trying to get into the same school, who they gonna give it to?
Right. Unfortunately. So, fortunately, folks, we have another story for you. Sarge.
All right, our next story is coming from the Big Apple, NYC, baby. And NYC is being a leader. All right, they're doing things right. They're changing the script. All right, so New York will allow non-citizens to vote under the controversial law. More than 800 non-citizens and dreamers could vote in New York City's multiple elections as early as next year, after Mayor Eric Adams allowed legislation to become law on Sunday. Opponents have vowed to challenge the law, which the city council approved a month ago. Unless a judge halts its implementation, New York is the first major city in the U.S. to grant widespread multiple voting rights to non-citizens. More than a dozen communities across the U.S. allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, including 11 towns in Maryland and 2 in Vermont. Non-citizens cannot vote for president or Congress or in state elections. The New York Board of Elections must begin an implementation plan by July, including registration rules and provisions to create separate ballots for multiple races. It's a watershed moment for the most populous U.S. city where legally documented non-citizens comprise nearly 1 in 9 of 7 million voting inhabitants. The movement to win voting rights for non-citizens prevailed after numerous setbacks. The measure would allow non-citizens who have been lawful permanent residents of the city for at least 30 days, as well as those authorized to work in the U.S., including dreamers, to help select the mayor, council members, borough presidents, comptroller, and public advocate. Dreamers are young migrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children who would benefit from the never-passed DREAMED Act or the Deferred Action for Children's Arrivals Program, which allows them to remain in the U.S. if they meet certain criteria. The first elections in which non-citizens would be allowed to vote are in 2023. We build a stronger democracy when we include the voices of immigrants, said former council member Yadanis Rodriguez, who led the charge for the legislation. Rodriguez, who Adam appointed transportation commissioner, thanked the mayor for his support and expects a vigorous defense against any legal challenge. He raised concern about the month-long residency standard, but later said those concerns did not mean he would veto the bill. While there are some questions whether Adams can stop the bill, a 30-day time limit to take action expired at the stroke of midnight. So speaking at a State of the Union on Sunday, Adams said, "I did not change my mind. I support the concept of the bill. The one aspect of that I had a problem with and I thought was problematic was the 30-day part. I'm a big believer in conversation. We have to start talking to each other and not at each other. And after hearing colleagues' rationale and their theories behind it, I thought it was more important to not veto the bill." In New York City, he says, 40% of Brooklyn speak a language other than English at home. And so I think it's imperative that people who are in a local municipality have the right to decide who's going to govern them. And I support the overall concept of that bill. So former Mayor Bill de Blasio had similar concerns to Adams, but did not move to veto the measure before vacating City Hall at the end of the year. So the opponents say the council lacks the authority on its own grant voting rights to non-citizens and should have first sought action by state lawmakers. Some states, including Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, and Florida, have adopted rules that would preempt any attempts to pass laws like this one in New York City. Asked what he would say to people who say the bill makes a mockery of the idea of American citizenship, Adams said, membership has its privileges. Being a member of what we call the United States of America is a great privilege, and I will tell them to keep doing it. Don't let anything take you away from that mission. This legislation is not going to do that. Keep becoming a citizen of the country. Keep going, Mayor Eric Adams. Don't let them take you off your beat. Don't let them take you off your path.
Right.
Create change. The conversation is necessary. You have a bunch of immigrants living in your city. You know it. Can't hide it.
Right.
47% of the people, 47% of Brooklyn speaks a different language in their home.
That's half.
That's a lot of people.
That's half.
Right? More than 800,000 non-citizens and dreamers in New York City. That's a lot.
It's a voting
800,000.
Right. That's a giant voting block.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
That's actually going to move the needle.
That changes the politics within the city.
Demographics, right?
Exactly.
And state legislators are mad because why? Because they wouldn't pass it.
Right.
Like the Dreamers Act still never passed. Like it was a big deal when Trump was in office. Oh, we got to pass this. We got to pass this. They're going to do away. They're all going to get deported. Yeah, they're going to get them deported. They're all going to get deported. Oh, here we go. No, we forgot all about the Dreamers.
They got deported. They were showing up in Los Angeles, knocking on like doors and just yanking people out houses. Remember that? They started deporting them. He promised the Dream Act, and then he sent ICE on them.
So it's.
But what I thought was super cool was that there are already more than a dozen communities across the U.S. who already allow non-citizens to cast ballots in local elections, including 11 towns in Maryland and 2 towns in Vermont.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're seeing is this deconstruction of power, right? So what I'm seeing is that local legislatures are saying, well, this is as much as we can do. Again, like with states having enough power to do certain things, and Sarge, you kind of talked about this earlier. Why don't the states just do what they do? The states can, and this is some of these states are doing it. Right. And think about it, Vermont. Who's in Vermont? Who's in Vermont? Bernie's in Vermont.
Isn't that the cheese state?
But Bernie Sanders
Wisconsin
is in Vermont.
Green Bay, cheeseheads.
So think about the legislators who oversee those states and those towns, right? New York has what? They got a new mayor who's a black man, right? So when we see that, when people of color, when people of culture get into these positions of power, they start making decisions that impact everybody else who is a global majority.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing.
Right. And the Board of Elections must now begin drawing an implementation plan by July, including voter registration rules and provisions that would create separate ballots for municipal races to prevent non-citizens from casting ballots in federal and state contests. It's a watershed moment for the nation's most populous city, where legally documented voting age non-citizens comprise of nearly 1 in 9 of the city's 7 million voting age inhabitants. So this is monumental. You know, these folks come to this country, you know, wanting to contribute. So the voting process, at least in your locality, you should be able to have a voice in there, because the taxes that are abstracted or you know, stripped from your paycheck go to supporting that municipality. Mm-hmm. So again, this is monumental. But also this shows that it takes somebody to be in a certain lived situation to understand this.
But also, what did he say? I listen to my colleagues.
Right.
I engage in their rationale and felt like what they were saying was credible. That makes all the difference in the world. Right. Being able to bridge the gap with your ears and your mind and your heart.
Being willing to say, hey, you know what? I'm not right. My view, you know what? It's flawed. My view's wrong.
Or maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm willing to listen.
Yep. Right. You look at states that were proactive then.
Right.
States like Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, and Florida, they became proactive in making sure they don't ever give these immigrants a chance to vote in their state.
It's crazy.
All right. How do you write legislation blocking any other new legislation from being written? How? How do you? You know what? I think we need to keep. I think we need to keep racism and slavery alive. I'm going to write a law saying we can never ban it.
Right. We haven't done anything new to the Constitution.
Why though? United States, we have to.
We like it.
I want to keep preaching it. We need to rewrite the Constitution. Constitution needs rewritten.
I want all colored people to rewrite the Constitution. I might not even want any fully born Americans to rewrite it. There's a whole situation. Like, you just can't be throwing stuff out there. There's a lot of dissension in America, and we're talking about rewriting the document that's already written by a bunch of races, and that the new races of today are going to have a hell of a hard time letting non-races of the 21st century rewrite anything.
Well,
I want to know, how can we, a nation of immigrants, founded by immigrants, I mean, we didn't find it, but started, how do we say, colonized?
No, they were terrorists. We were a
Terrorists.
country
All
of
right.
terrorists.
So,
Started
all right,
by
but-
terrorism. They came out here. They bulldozed those people. They killed them. They murdered
But
them.
we're immigrants, though. We are a nation of immigrants.
Nope, a nation of terrorists.
Okay.
They came over here and started killing people. That I don't know what else. That's terrorism.
So then what the point I'm getting at is, like, how can we as a nation of immigrants how can they go, oh, no, we don't want no other immigrants to vote? How do you put a cap on what immigrants, you put a cap on the amount of immigrants?
But if you don't see yourself as an immigrant, you see yourself as the supreme being. You see yourself as, this is my life. This is what the creator of the universe wanted me to have.
Well, back to the story. Former Mayor Bill De Blasio. This is something that he actually wanted to pass, but couldn't do it during his time. And opponents say that the council lacks the authority on its own to grant voting rights to non-citizens and should have first sought action by state lawmakers. And like was previously said, some states, including Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, and Florida, have adopted rules that would preempt any attempt to pass laws like the one in New York City, what Sarge was saying. So I mean, there it is. Like we talked about, hey, why isn't there a war on racism? Well, because the people that want to prop it up are in office. There it is.
Want to put a veil over it.
Right. They're like think about it. These people in these states spent time to say, all right, well, we are going to block these non-citizens from being able to ever vote. And if you look at the states that did it, it's like, okay, right. Alabama, Arizona, okay.
These
Florida.
suspects.
Right. Now Colorado, that's surprising. So,
But you also got to think of where Colorado is located, Utah, the influence of there really aren't that many immigrants in those communities.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I would say there's a lot.
In the general states of Ohio and Colorado and Utah?
I think that there's a lot. Mexican? I think that there's a lot.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah.
Right.
Interesting then, yeah.
I want to talk to somebody from Colorado to find out. So folks, we are going to keep it moving. If anybody doesn't have anything else to add to the story, we were going to get to our sixth story for today, Lady L.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna take it back to January 6th. Because as you know, they have found and charged about 700 people out of the, where we at, 2,500 people? So we're getting there, kind of. Well, anyway, honey, there was a lady that took her baby to the January 6th insurrection. Did y'all know that? Some lady took her baby. Yes, a North Carolina woman brought her 14-year-old son into the U.S. Capitol during last year's riot, and she was finally sentenced. I wish y'all could put it in the comments and we can hurry up and read them. How long do y'all think she got? How long do y'all think she got? All right, so she got 3 months. Yeah, she got 3 months in prison and a couple years of probation. So the U.S. District Judge Colleen Kohler-Coatley said she found it very hard to comprehend why Virginia Marie Spencer and her husband took their child into the building during a violent insurrection. Spencer's husband, Christopher Raphael Spencer, was also arrested. He pleaded not guilty to riot-related charges. Spencer must report to prison and begin serving her 90-day sentence by February 25th. The judge also sentenced her to 3 years of probation. Spencer and her husband pressed forward towards the Capitol building with their 14-year-old son in tow. Despite seeing police shooting tear gas into the crowd, a federal prosecutor who wrote in the court filings, the Spencers joined other rioters who overwhelmed a line of police officers, invaded House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office suite, and demanded entry into the House chamber, the filing says. Virginia Spencer pleaded guilty in September to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building, a misdemeanor punishable by a maximum of 6 months in prison. Prosecutors recommended a sentence of 3 months of incarceration, 3 years of probation, and $500 for restitution. Her attorney asked for a sentence of 1 year of probation with community service. Spencer, the mother of 5 from Pilot Mountain, who works as a restaurant cashier, was arrested in Durham, North Carolina. Inside the Capitol, Christopher Spencer filmed a Facebook Live video as he and his wife briefly entered Pelosi's office suite. Of note, Speaker Pelosi had staff members who were trapped inside the suite as the rioters called for Speaker Pelosi steps away from them. Virginia Spencer later joined a group of rioters who were chanting "Stop the Steal" and "Break it down" outside the House chamber door, although prosecutors say she still wasn't vocal or at the front of the crowd. The Spencers spent more than 30 minutes inside the Capitol before leaving. Spencer's lawyers say she ate up media coverage of protests that erupted across the country in the summer of 2020 after a white police officer killed a black man, George Floyd, in Minneapolis. After months of watching our major cities burn, many people became convinced that vocal displays of outrage in the form of protesting was the only way to make their voices heard. Spencer also believed Donald Trump's lie that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him. Mrs. Spencer did not come to Washington, D.C. with the intention of subverting democracy. She came to peacefully protest what she believed at the time to be a fraudulent election. So she gets probation and 90 days in prison. I'm confused about endangering the welfare of a child. Where's that at? Where's her taking her baby to something like that? Where are the charges for that? Okay, over to the desk, gentlemen. Would you have taken your children?
I know people that had their kids taken away from them for less, and then they had to fight like hell to get the kids back. You know, and this lady, you know, took her kid to a riot. You know, isn't this the same as Kyle Rittenhouse's mom? And Kyle Rittenhouse's mom, I don't think that she has been charged with any kind of reckless endangerment or anything like that. But I say all of that to say this. Haven't we seen pictures and heard stories of parents that are, you know, passed out high from heroin, and then they're still able to keep their kids, you know, or their kids be the one that has the needle, you know, because they're teaching kids now
how to administer Narcan.
How to administer it, you know. So this is the same country that coddles that, you know, but that same affection wasn't offered during the crack epidemic. Or even if you get pulled over and a cop finds...
My cousin literally lost her son in Virginia because she had, like, her license plate was expired or something like that, and she went to jail. And literally had to fight to get her son back. It was really, really tragic.
I know people that got their kids taken away that night because they got pulled over and blunt guts were found in the car. You know, and it's just like, okay, America, where's the threshold?
Where's the scale at?
Right. Because you're telling me folks like Kyle Rittenhouse's mom can take their kids to a riot and their kid can kill somebody and you see nothing from it.
I just want to say mom and dad were both there. Dad's fighting charges right now. Dad's trying to act like he didn't do anything. Even though mom has pled guilty, dad's still fighting the charges to try and get off on him. And mom did get 3 years probation, which is something that we've seen these people from the insurrection. They're not getting probation. They're getting these 90 days, slap on the wrist, off your record, you're good to go. Yeah, like that's what they're getting, and it's not right.
It's not.
Like, yeah,
We should
Don't have protesters fighting here in Lancaster.
These should be federal charges that live with you the same way felonies
Yes.
do.
Right.
Like, you know what? You want to stop a vote? Boom. Now you can't vote ever again. All them people at that, all 700 and some odd people that have been arrested should not be allowed to vote again.
Yeah.
Why? Because you tried to stop an election that was done fairly.
Right.
You are a terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist. You tried to stop an election because you're mad because you lost. What if the millions and millions of all of us winners, everybody who won, would show up? Would we show up somewhere? I guarantee we're going to take you.
Yeah.
More bodies. I guarantee it'll happen.
Yeah. To the comment section, Nyla, good morning to you. Nyla says, I'm sorry, let's start with Gary. Gary says, how many of you black men on the panel see a doctor on an annual basis to have your blood work done? How many of you on the panel change your oil in your car annually? Why do we treat our cars better than we treat the temple of God, our bodies? Gary, I hate you because you're right. To that point, I'm going to schedule my checkup. And mark it down. Fellas, if you haven't got your undercarriage checked,
Black male health, man.
Please do. It's a great point, Gary. Nyla says, it would be an interesting rewrite of the Constitution with Trump supporters involved. I don't trust quite a few of them. I am with Lady L. All colored individuals rewrite it. Then continues to say, there needs to be set limits on every political seat. Yes. From local to federal, no lifelong political seats anymore, and says that she thinks that the lady is only going to get probation, and you were right. And then follows up and says, shouldn't the child be endangered? Yes, that is the definition of it, but not to some courts, apparently. Gary says 3 months in prison, sisters can kick her ass every day for 3 months. That's a long time. Nyla says, wasn't there a black pregnant mother in Florida that was sentenced to life for her baby's murder for someone else's shooting her in the stomach? Yeah, white people can take their kids into a riot with only 3 months in prison. Rebecca says, excessive speeding with a child in a car can cause someone to lose their child. Yes. Terrible. That point. Terrible. That point.
We got a couple comments on IG.
What's up, IG?
Tamora.
What's up, cuz?
This is what they teach their kids.
Yeah.
Shell Booker says, yes, way less. And then Tamora says, listen, white privilege is two different justice systems.
Yeah.
And then Shell Booker says, only 3 months for a terrorist? Only in America. Oh, wait, only white people. In America.
Look at that.
I get
some
90,
IG.
You get 90 days for street cleaning ticket.
Yo.
You get more
Let's keep it real.
walking.
Straight up. And this is what it is. This is the consequence for trying to overthrow your government. In China,
oh, they'd have chopped their fingers off.
They have the shooting squad. They'll line you up. Yo, we
pull up on you, pull up at your door.
Straight up. We don't take ourselves.
We only tough to other people.
Right.
Whoever the others are.
Make it.
The others are everybody that's non-white.
That was my
America
point.
was supposed to be the white country. It just what it was, and which is why everybody else has a hard time with the justice system except white folks.
To wrap up this article, Spencer must report to prison to begin serving her 90-day sentence by February 25th. And the judge also sentenced her to 3 years of probation. Like we said, we know people that have DUIs that get longer in probation than trying to overthrow the government. So, you know.
Maybe we should, next time any black person goes to court, just relate something to Donald Trump and that he made you do it. Whatever it was. It was Donald Trump. Whatever it was. I was speeding up. It was Donald Trump.
Or just wear your MAGA hat.
Yeah, like.
Well, folks, we want to let you know that TCP in the Morning is also brought to you by Patients Are Waiting. Patients Are Waiting are eliminating health disparities by increasing diversity in medicine. They have 3 areas of focus: increasing the pipeline of minority clinicians, making the pipeline of minority clinicians less leaky, and supporting minority clinicians in practice. Again, that is patients are waiting, R, the letter R, and they also are diversifying doulas by supporting expecting mothers and women of color. And also, this Friday, Patients Are Waiting is having a week 2 of their vaccination music festival.
Yes.
Come on down to Crispus Attucks Community Center, where you can get your flu vaccine, you can get your booster vaccine, you can get your first shot, you can get your second shot. And this is in celebration of music and also getting people vaxxed as well. So if you haven't vaxxed that ass up, head on down to Crispus Attucks this Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Get entertained and get that ass vaxxed. And if you don't want to do that, or if you're already vaxxed,
get boosted.
Join the stream, and you'll see the live music. Tyrion tore it down on Friday. Next week we have, this week we have, I believe it's Wednesday, Worldwide Wednesday, so we're looking forward to that. A ball of energy, so cannot wait for that. So, folks, our 7th story of today. We prefaced this story, we highlighted this story a couple months ago about 4 black women officers who filed a lawsuit against the Baltimore Police Department. Well, those women that filed the lawsuit, they are now complaining. Not complaining. They are speaking out. Excuse me for that. They are speaking out because after they made this report, after they filed this lawsuit, they have been experiencing harassment, both physical and sexual, at their workplace. So, after reporting acts of discrimination, these officers say that they were forced to contend with hostility and open retaliation. One of them, Officer Yampierre, the mother of 3, with another on the way, told NBC News that I would rather want my children to experience this than to see everything that I'm going through. I'm supposed to be their hero. And all the while, the Baltimore police have refused to comment. They are not the only police department who's recently come under fire for similar offenses. In Washington, D.C., 10 black women officers have sued the city for discrimination. And just a few months later, in November, a federal judge awarded Lieutenant Detective Donna Gavin $2 million in a discrimination case she brought to court against the Boston Police Department. These women are represented by Deanna Marie Lewis, an attorney that represents women that are a part of the Me Too movement. So the lawsuit collective has not only walked away from their positions, but they also have filed another lawsuit after being discriminated against for both their race and gender. So to feel so empowered to target women that have filed a lawsuit. They didn't file a lawsuit against you, Tom. They're not taking you, Jim, to court or anything like that. This is a cultural thing, and what this harassment has done has just exposed.
It just reinforced the reason they needed
the lawsuit
in the first place.
And this is why I say that racism makes people dumb, because there's an open investigation on the Baltimore PD, and then after the investigation is opening and happening, some of y'all double down on what the lawsuit was about, therefore creating an even bigger lawsuit.
Right. Oh, we're going to come back in 6 months and be reading the court filings like, yeah, so this is what had happened. And then 3 days after that. So, even the one, Sergeant Jasmine, after she filed in her allegations of sexual harassment, she started finding toy rats on her desk when she would come into the office. And then she started, she couldn't work properly because she started feeling like she wasn't going to be safe around her colleagues.
Right.
What happens if you get a call and you're supposed to go out there? Am I supposed to trust these people that I don't even know who was leaving rats on my desk?
Right.
Because I was being harassed and I was supposed to not say anything?
How does she feel to step in between, you know, the officers and the criminals?
Exactly.
Like, she gonna get shot in her back or her front.
Right. Right.
I mean, so it's untenable.
If she calls for backup, who's going to be the one to answer that? Is it going to be somebody
How
I
fast
fool
do they
with?
get there?
Exactly. When they write the police report, are they going to lie and say that, well, officer so-and-so didn't do whatever, what have you? But to feel so emboldened to harass somebody that has an open investigation on your department, to then double down and harass, like, yo, how stupid or how racist or how privileged do you need to feel to do that? Go ahead, ladies.
Well, go ahead. Well, sorry, I just wanted to say that I think it's crazy that one of the officers who filed the suit, Yum Perry, she said that's why we stayed. But it's not the people who we are protecting outside in the city that we're scared of. We're scared of the people inside. That's the problem.
And that's the point. We're not afraid of the community. We're afraid of the people that are paid to protect the community. And
it's crazy because it's like you're saying what black people have been saying about police in the community, except now you're saying it from the angle of inside the police station. So there's a problem inside the police station, and there's a problem outside the police station.
Just look at it. The police have to protect themselves from the police. Go ahead,
Like, let's look at it. In September 2021, 10 black women, DC police officers, that discrimination suit.
Yep.
Just a few short months later in November, a federal judge awarded the one detective the $2 million. They're from the Boston Police Department. Every common case, we've been saying it, you've been saying it, but every common case, the lawsuits don't come up until after the women they file the discriminatory practices that are being done.
Right.
When they get mad, like, they'll suck it up and keep dealing with it, because women in the workforce, what? In the police workforce, they're trying to compete with men. And men are going to be hard on men.
Can't be viewed as
and you have men who are chauvinistic, egotistical, and don't feel a woman should be doing their job.
Right.
The reason I can say that is because being towards the end of my military career, I was getting ready to retire. There was women who were going to start being allowed to be in combat MOSs, in combat jobs. And you'd always hear some guy say, women can't do this job. Women can't do this. Women can't do that. This and that, this and that. And you would hear the chauvinistic, and you can tell. You know, the treatment that, you know when someone's giving you a treatment.
Right.
All right, the blue wall of silence. All right, that's what these police officers are calling these women police officers. The blue wall of silence where no cop will talk to them. Why? Because they're telling? And we wonder why we still see so many police murders still happening. Why we say all cops are bad. Why are all cops bad? Because you see a couple cops try to call out some bad cops for treating them the way they're doing, and in return, all the cops go against them.
Right.
So what does that mean? All cops are bad. That's what it means for me.
Like Soulfully said, got the tea today, y'all. Go ahead.
Tamora says on IG, so if they're doing this to their co-workers, then what are they doing to their community that they're supposed to be serving?
Good point.
And then Shell Booker on IG says, crazy and right, afraid of those we are expected to run to for help.
Oh, that part. Gary says the parents were not charged for endangering the child because the child was a homeschooled student, and his visit to the Capitol was considered a history lesson. LOL. Sophie says, wow, great stories. Y'all are on fire today. I got my tea. Come on down. I love it. Neville says, Baltimore, do better. Sophie says, what? Definitely can believe that discrimination is heavy in the police force. If you don't stand in that blue line, terrible. Those ladies' lives and jobs are on the line. So sad because these ladies are brave enough to speak up for thousands of women of color in these positions. Black women are always undervalued, yet are the staples in so many communities. This story hits home because I've dealt with these same injustices. Gary says, is Keeper Journal documented it all? And after this lawsuit is done, file retaliation lawsuit, mo money, mo money, mo money. Meaning keep a journal. Rochelle says, I'm speaking from someone from Baltimore. Baltimore cops don't give a F. I can tell many stories of how ruthless Baltimore cops can be. They don't care. Scott Allman says, I love this lady. I admit I was blinded by this. Such a shame people can't just grow up and understand we are all equal and deserving of what we as human beings can accomplish.
Yeah, Brother Scott, what up, all this?
And Rebecca says, wait, men are salty about women in power? No, you don't say. And Scott says, exactly, Rebecca, they aren't doing their jobs, period.
And look, if you are a public servant in any way, if you're a police officer, if you're in the military, if you do something that involves the public, you cannot be racist. You cannot be, your biases and your discriminatory practices, all that has to be gone to do this kind of work because you are a public servant. You are open to everybody. You have to be open to everybody. Like, you have to give everybody a chance. You have to.
But if they create it, they can set up whatever parameters around it because we literally talked about it last year or something where Philadelphia officers, people had applied to be Philadelphia police officers and then they sued because they wouldn't let them in. Remember that? They were black people, they were black men who wanted to be cops. They went and did the interviews, they went and did the trainings and then found out that they couldn't become officers. Yeah. And it didn't make any sense. And so it's almost like, yes, I get what you're saying, Sean. You shouldn't be racist. But this is an institution where it helps it to manifest and grow. And so, yes, the rest of us in America may not want racism, but institutions like the police and white supremacy, they need it so that they can continue to manifest and, exist.
Can we just admit to ourselves that it's easier and you'll probably progress a lot more in police departments if you are a racist cop? Like being a non-racist cop actually works against you.
Even if you're black.
Yeah, right. So then you would want to be as racist as possible within that, so then you don't have to worry about, well, are you one of them goody two-shooters?
Right. You gonna talk?
Right.
I don't know what movie it was, but Bernie Mac played the cop. Might have been Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. But Bernie Mac played the cop.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. I hate everything black. You
I
know,
hate my gums because they black.
And that's, if you're a black person, that's what you would need to show.
Right. And it takes me right back to the point I made in the beginning of the show, where we've been talking about it all show. Conversations need to be had.
Yeah.
Conversations need to be had. You know what? If these conversations were had, you know what? I bet you more cops would feel more emboldened to call out these other officers who are doing these things, leaving rats on the desk.
Right.
Like, you become more emboldened if these conversations are had and not just done in a PowerPoint presentation or in like an hour trash session, just a boring lecture. You can't give everything in a lecture.
Right.
That's not the way it works. You got to have talks. You got to make people uncomfortable. No one's ever going to be comfortable until we get cool with being uncomfortable.
Right.
But we got to be cool with it. Be comfortable with it. Because at the end of the day, that's when things will start to change more.
Yeah.
And call people out.
Yep. So, Sarge, can you take us to our final story?
Yes, our final story. All right. So a couple months ago, back in August, we talked about a Kentucky teacher who was filmed fighting with his student. He pinned him down on the ground by his hair, and he was suspended without any duties, but he was still a part of the school district. He just was recently let go. So the Kentucky teacher was filmed during a ferocious altercation with a 16-year-old student, has been fired. William Bennett, a one-time science teacher at Marion C. Moore School in Louisville, was axed after an investigation by the Jefferson County Public Schools found he had escalated the situation and made inappropriate comments according to her termination letter. He'd been assigned to the non-instructional duties by the county ever since the video of the incident went viral in August, only after it went viral. A timeline in the letter states that the altercation began when student Jameer Strain punched Bennett in the back of the head. In an ensuing struggle, Bennett pinned Strain to the ground and put his whole body weight on top of him. As onlookers jeered for him to get off, Strain continued to try and punch Bennett. And when the teen freed himself, the teacher began pulling his hair. Footage of the altercation was shown. Strain said the altercation began after Bennett complained about his neck gaiter and made racially charged remarks to him. He said, "You're just going to be another black boy shot," Strain said. He said, "I'm going to put it in English. You're going to end up in the street dead, in my mind, like all my friends." Well, Strain said he's going to say it like that. The teen was suspended for 10 days and faced an assault charge over the incident. It was far from Bennett's first run-in with students. In 1999, when he taught in a nearby Hardin County school, the teacher also got grabbed by a student who had been misbehaving. This isn't his first time. This isn't his first offense. Hopefully it's his last. You can't say that to a student. You tell a student he's going to die because of a neck gaiter he's wearing? You tell him he's going to be like everybody. What does that mean? You are a teacher. This is why I say public servants. No biases, no discriminatory views, no racist views. That is a no-go. In these sectors, it cannot be.
Right.
This kid, you think this kid got up and he's just like, I'm going to punch this teacher in the back of the head. No. You are a grown man.
Right.
You insulted this kid. You insulted him. You pointed him out. You made him feel less than what? And he retaliated out of anger because he's a 16-year-old boy, and that's what 16-year-old boys do.
Right.
You're full of piss, testosterone, and anger at 16.
Right.
You don't know what's going on. You're growing hair. You're doing things, and you got this guy who you already look at. You already look at him. Oh, he's a teacher. I ain't gonna let him challenge. You're not gonna get punked in front of anybody.
Right.
And he makes you look bad. Makes you look like something that you're probably not.
Right. And we have the video, folks. So
I'm running it in the corner.
Huh?
I'm running it in the corner.
Oh, all right. Bet. All right. So y'all can see the video right in the corner. Scott Alman says that's why we need to have another option or oversight to stem these practices. But to me, are we going to be able to trust whatever would be created as a babysitter of these corrupt institutions? Just sad. For this Kentucky story, this has really made me think about, talking to my parents and saying, yo, this teacher is racist. And then us having this back and forth and everything like that, and like my parents just basically telling me that, well, teachers can't be racist. And like I had that in my mind,
That's tough.
Like, wait, Mom, what?
And like I had that in my mind up until graduate school. So I carried that with me basically all of my schooling, that teachers can't be racist. And this is what my parents taught me. Go ahead, Lady Al.
That's crazy because I once had a teacher, and I mean, I definitely don't believe like she's racist, but she's definitely, I guess you would say like she's on like the woke scale. We'll go there with that. And she taught in Pennsylvania, and then she taught out in Nevada. And so at this one particular time she was teaching out in Nevada, she became the supervisor of the yearbook club. Mm-hmm. And she was like, the students were like, all right, well, yeah, let's do the pictures on this day. And she was like, well, I think we should maybe have a week or two in between so that the students can get their hair redone, whatever style they want to do, because she was coming from Philly. And she was like, these kids are going to want to get their hair redone. That's going to take time. I don't know what their parent situations are like. So for her, she was like, let's give them time so that they can look the way that they want to look and do that. The students in Nevada thought she was being racist.
Wow.
Thought she was being racist. How dare she talk about them getting their hair done and stuff like that. What does she know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, so then you would have complained if you had 2 days to do something.
Yeah. Would have complained regardless.
And I'm like, I wish, people would care enough. I remember when I took my high school photos, I'm like, yo, if somebody had been there that said this piece of hair was out of place. Mm. If somebody would have been there to say, hey, put that, like, those little tiny things is what matters. And the fact that there was a white teacher who was like, let me have this into consideration before I make this decision. And that's where unconscious biases come in, because here's a woman who knew something and she said, okay, let me make sure that I work that in so that my students can have the best.
You know what? Now talking about school pictures and unconscious biases and everything like that, and hair, like talking to my SDOL folks here. Do y'all remember when they would give us those little black combs?
Oh yeah, I remember the little ones. Yep.
I remember
Jones.
like yo,
like it hurt.
School. I did.
Always hurt.
Picture day, yo. Picture day.
Them Jones used to.
They would hand out these little black combs like this was gonna do something
To my head was
yo.
break.
So clearly nobody knew to buy a pick.
And see stuff like this. Like had there have been that teacher to say, yo, we have black and brown kids here. Why are y'all passing out these little combs? Like these little combs ain't gonna do nothing but break.
Get somebody a headache.
Yo, like you can't run this through an afro.
I'm thinking, the little combs that they use for your beard?
Yes.
Yo.
Yes, Lady L. Yes.
Yo, and boom, Felix. Shout out to Felix. Felix said, I could never use them, hurt so much. Like, yo, but every year, my kids probably
are going to get them. They still give them away. I was working there, just recently, and during picture day, they definitely were giving out the little black combs still.
Unconscious bias. It's one of those
things. They don't know what they don't know.
Right. Just like with the Band-Aid being flesh color.
What's her name? Tamora says, grease lightning combs.
Hey, Sandy.
I wish I had it on DVD because I go buy grease right now.
The Fonz.
Yeah, and then the girls would always come up to me like, hiya, stud.
And those girls were in high school smoking cigarettes.
Yo!
We tend to forget about all that stuff. Jeez Louise.
You know what is one of the worst high school movies ever? House Party.
Oh.
Because they were all in high school.
All of them.
Remember that?
Yes, they were.
They were grown. They clearly.
Class act.
Like the
That's
bullies.
why we were confused when we got to high school. We were like, why do we look so young?
Young, right. Because the bullies from House Party,
they were 40.
They supposed to be 16?
Nah, look.
But this is why.
They look like some of them guys coming to pick up their girlfriends in high school.
All of them fresh
They look like them grown men coming to pick up their girlfriends. I'm only 20.
I got it, but that's why black people age so much older in the justice system, because they're watching movies like House Party, and they're like, oh, look at them high schoolers.
Look how old they are in
And then when they see us really in high school, they're like, nope, I saw House Party.
I know what he's going to be. Projected.
And also, the Bayside.
Oh my goodness.
You know?
Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell. Right.
What are you doing taking them protein shakes and he 14?
Hey.
Walking around carrying dumbbells and stuff.
Hey, wait a minute.
Gary says, growing up in Miami, that's the way house parties were in high school. That could have been, Gary. Yes, the house parties were like that, but not the people.
Gary, you live the life.
Right.
Those were clearly
adults.
Right.
Come on, Gary.
Being portrayed as
children.
And finally, Rebecca says no little combs anymore, not as of the last few years. Well, good, because that was pointless. That was really pointless. On that note, folks, we are going to put a pin in it right there. But before we go, Lady L.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, go on ahead and make sure that you just share the stream, and I can't wait to see you back here tomorrow. But before we go, I got to shout out my Black Lady Doctors. Yes, the women over at Patients Are Waiting are getting ready for another round of Pipeline to Dreams. Yes, our Pipeline to Dreams high school 12-week enrichment program has unique healthcare experiences to get young people ready for the field of medicine. We're talking, and it's just not just any kind of medicine. We're talking about optometry, neurology. We're talking OBGYN. We're talking, I think I might have said optometry, dentistry. So all different types of medical fields. So again, your young person can register. It doesn't matter what high school they come from. We've had people come from New York, from Philadelphia, from Coatesville to come and participate in this program. So go on ahead, have your young person register. This is for high school juniors and seniors to get them just to explore the different realms of medicine. So yes, creating a pipeline to get more Black doctors in the field. Right now we're at 5%. And to programs like this with our Black lady doctors, hopefully we can take it up to 25. Over to the desk.
Over to the desk.
Oh, yeah, time to slow it down. Listen here, I like to say this to the baby boys, baby girls, the baby dolls, the mamas, the daddies, the he's, the she's, the thems, the theys, the we baby. I like to say this to y'all. Listen, look, never give up. Nothing makes a person more productive than the last minute, and a positive attitude may not solve all your problems, but it will annoy enough people to make it worth the effort. And remember, if you're on the right track, keep moving, because you will get ran over if you stay standing still. Have a great day, y'all.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will see you in church.
This is Assad. This is your Penny.com Health Minute. In part 2 of our healthcare terminology, we begin with the phrase out-of-pocket maximum, which is the most money in the form of deductibles, co-pays, and co-insurances you can pay each year, regardless of how much medical care you need. Do you need prescription medication? Well, Penny.com has provided a convenient way for you to look at the plans you are considering to see how much your prescription could cost. Network is also a key term you will continuously see while navigating Penny.com. Your network is compiled of healthcare providers and facilities your insurer has contracted with. Do you want to include your doctor in your plan? No worries. You can use Penny's provider directory to see if your provider is included in your plan. Sign up for healthcare coverage